It came at the time that David was around. And after he finished boasting against the armies of God, David asked the guys, who is this uncircumcised Philistine to defy the armies of living God? Amen. What kind of question is that? That means David didn't see a giant. You didn't hear what I just said? How can he be asking who is this person if he has already seen who he is? That means the way David saw the giant was different from how others saw him. So what David was actually asking the others is, where is the giant? Okay. I'll help you. I know. Perhaps you don't understand what I'm trying to say yet. So I've got to break it down. Thank God I'm a master of exegesis. Now, listen. What was actually going on there is simple. If you want to deal with your giant, listen to me. If you have not gotten anything all night, please get this. If you want to deal with a giant, you must first of all be able to identify a giant. Now, you can't deal with a problem that you cannot identify. You cannot overcome an issue that you cannot identify. Listen, you cannot cure a disease to which you do not know the symptoms. I know we have doctors and nurses here. Every medical practitioner approaches disease based on the symptoms it presents. Where there are no symptoms, there is no diagnosis. So there is no way you can actually overcome a giant that you cannot recognize. Are you following me so far? So what I'm trying to say in essence is, before you can deal with a giant, you must be able to identify a giant. How do you identify a giant? By knowing the characteristics of a giant. The symptoms that a giant presents. Can somebody say amen? Amen. I'm glad you're following so far. So what I'm trying to say in essence, if you're getting me so far, is that in order to identify a giant, you've got to know what a giant truly is. Can we go forward? Okay. So, if a lot of people say there are giants, don't believe it. Because some people actually make into a giant what is not a giant. Okay. So, characteristic number one, or for a better term, we could use a medical term, symptom number one. Giants are subjective, which means a giant to me might not be a giant to you. Okay, I've got to preach right now. Which means what you call a giant might not be a giant to me. A poor man in Canada will not be a poor man in Nigeria. Why? Because the Canadian dollar becomes 500 times when it gets to Nigeria. So what that means is, what some people have magnified to be a giant is a dwarf to somebody else. I prophesy to somebody tonight. Everything that rises as a giant in front of you, everything that rises as a giant in front of your family, everything that rises as a giant in your business, in your marriage and in your life, there shall be dwarfing tonight. Amen. I said they are dwarfing tonight. Amen. I said they are dwarfing tonight. Amen. I change the way you see things.
Amen. Yes.
I transform your vision. Hey. I improve your revelation. Amen. I increase your insight. Amen. I open the eyes of your understanding. Amen. I say your giants are getting smaller. Amen.